Let me tell you something. A woman doesn't waste energy where her heart isn't involved. If she's doing certain things, even small things, trust me, you're living in her mind rent-free. Now listen closely. If she randomly checks on you, did you eat? Did you get home safe? That's not small talk. That's care. And care is emotional investment. A woman doesn't check on a man she doesn't think about. Attention means interest. It's really that simple. When a woman checks on you, when she asks if you ate, if you made it home safe, if that meeting went well, that's not random conversation. That's intentional care. And care doesn't happen by accident. People are busy. Everyone has their own world, their own stress, their own responsibilities. So when she pauses her world to make sure you're okay, that tells you something. You've crossed her mind. See, a woman doesn't consistently check on a man she feels nothing for. Once, maybe, twice, could be politeness. But when it becomes a pattern, when she's the one reaching out just to see how your day is going, that's emotional investment starting to grow. She doesn't want something from you in that moment. She just wants to know you're good. That's pure interest. And then there are the small details, the little things most people forget 5 minutes after you say them. You casually mention your favorite childhood snack, and 2 weeks later she brings it up. You tell her about an important presentation on Friday, and Friday evening she asks, "How did it go?" You talk about your mother's birthday coming up, and she remembers before you do. That's not luck. That's attention. People only remember what matters to them. Let that sink in. When she stores away tiny pieces of information about you, it's because your words carry weight in her mind. She's listening closely, not just hearing you, listening. That kind of listening only happens when someone is genuinely interested. When you're just another guy, details blur. But when you matter, everything sticks. Sometimes men underestimate this because they think big gestures are the only proof of feelings. But it's not the grand speeches or dramatic confessions that reveal interest first. It's the quiet consistency, the "did you eat?" text, the "drive safe," the random message saying, "this reminded me of you." Those small check-ins are signals, they say. You live somewhere in my thoughts. And here's something deeper. When she checks on you, she's imagining you. She's picturing your day. She's wondering how things are going for you. That means you're occupying mental space. And mental space is valuable. Nobody gives that away easily. If she didn't care, she wouldn't ask. If she wasn't interested, she wouldn't remember. It takes emotional energy to pay attention like that. And women protect their emotional energy. They don't spend it carelessly. So if she's doing this consistently, checking in, recalling details, following up on things you mentioned, don't dismiss it as she's just nice. Nice fades. Attention stays, especially repeated attention. Because at the end of the day, interest shows up in effort. And effort shows up in awareness. When she's aware of your life, your schedule, your preferences, your pressures, that means you matter. You're not background noise. You're a priority forming quietly in her heart. Attention means interest. And if she's giving you hers, you're already more important to her than you realize. Emotion equals investment. A woman who feels nothing will give you nothing. No reaction, no spark, no change in tone. Just neutrality. And neutrality is dangerous because it means you haven't moved her heart at all. But when she teases you, when she reacts to what you say, when her mood shifts based on your words, that's involvement. That's emotional energy being spent on you. Teasing is one of the clearest signs. When she playfully makes fun of you, laughs at your habits, calls you out in a joking way, or challenges you with a smile, she's engaging. She's comfortable enough to play. That kind of playful back and forth doesn't happen with someone she feels indifferent about. Teasing creates connection. It creates tension. It creates a bond that says, I see you and I enjoy interacting with you. And let's talk about reactions. If she responds when you pull away, if she notices when your tone changes, if she asks what's wrong, when you get quiet, that means she's paying attention to your emotional state. A woman who isn't invested won't track your energy. She won't care enough to analyze your silence. But when she reacts, when she tries to understand, when she adjusts her own mood because of yours, that's emotional attachment growing. Now here's the part many men misunderstand. Slight jealousy, not toxic jealousy, not controlling behavior, but that subtle shift when you mention another woman. Maybe she asks a casual question like, oh really, who's that? Maybe her tone changes just a little. Maybe she goes quiet for a moment. That's not insecurity. That's care mixed with uncertainty. You don't feel protective over something you don't value. Jealousy in small doses is a signal that she sees you as hers, or at least hopes to. It means she has imagined a place for you in her life. And the idea of someone else stepping into that space doesn't sit comfortably. That emotional reaction proves you matter. Indifference is calm and distant. Investment is expressive. It shows up in the way she laughs louder around you. The way she gets slightly annoyed when you don't reply quickly. The way she pretends not to care but clearly does. All of that emotion, even the complicated parts, means you've stirred something inside her. A woman who is emotionally involved will not be flat. She will be dynamic. One moment playful, the next moment serious. One moment confident, the next moment slightly vulnerable. That emotional movement is proof she's connected. Men sometimes mistake calmness for maturity and emotion, for drama. But understand this, if she's reacting, if she's teasing, if she's showing hints of jealousy, it's because you've become important enough to affect her mood. And that's powerful, because the opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference. When she stops reacting, when she stops teasing, when she no longer cares who you're talking to, that's when the investment is gone. So if she's showing emotion, even in small ways, recognize it for what it is. She's not just passing time, she's involved. Her heart is stepping forward, little by little. And emotion is the receipt that proves she's invested in you more than she may even admit. Consistency reveals priority. Anybody can show interest for a day. Anybody can send a sweet message when they're bored. But consistency, that's intentional. That's chosen. When a woman consistently replies fast, consistently checks your updates, consistently checks your updates, consistently makes time for you, that's not random behavior. That's you being placed high on her mental list. Fast replies don't always mean she's glued to her phone waiting, but they do mean you are important enough to respond to quickly. Think about it. Everyone sees messages. Everyone gets notifications, but we prioritize who we answer first. If she keeps you near the top of that list, it's because you matter. You're not an afterthought she'll get to later. You're someone she wants to engage with now. And it's not just about speed. It's about reliability. If she responds regularly, If conversations don't feel one-sided, if she keeps the flow going, that's effort. Effort shows intention. She's choosing to invest time in the connection instead of letting it fade. Now look at how she watches you. If she views your stories early, reacts to your posts, or brings up something you shared hours ago, that tells you something powerful. She's paying attention even when you're not directly talking to her. That means when she's scrolling, when she's in her own space, you still cross her mind. Your updates aren't background noise to her. They are highlights to her, where highlights you one of a background noise to her. She'll just quietly observe, but later she'll mention a detail from something you posted. That's not coincidence. That's quiet interest. She's tuned in. And then there's time. Time is the most honest currency. People make time for what they value. If she adjusts her schedule to see you, if she stays up a little later to finish a conversation, if she squeezes you into a busy day, that's priority. Nobody rearranges their life for someone who doesn't matter. Consistency, Al, so shows up emotionally. If her tone doesn't drastically change day to day, if she remains warm, engaged, and present, that stability means she's serious about maintaining the connection. Hot and cold is confusion. Consistent and steady is intention. Men sometimes chase intensity, big dramatic moments, passionate words, bold confessions. But real interest often shows up quietly. It shows up in daily habits, in regular good mornings, in dependable check-ins, in her being there again and again. When a woman consistently shows up, she's not just reacting to the moment. She's thinking long-term, even if she hasn't said it out loud. Consistency requires emotional discipline. It requires desire. It requires care. Anyone can pretend for a week, but when weeks turn into months and the pattern stays strong, that's not casual anymore. That's deliberate. So if she replies with intention, watches you with attention, and makes time without excuses, understand what that means. You're not just someone she talks to. You're someone she considers, someone she prioritizes. And when someone consistently prioritizes you, it's because you're living in their mind far more often than you think. Vulnerability is trust. When a woman opens up about her fears, her past, her insecurities, and even her biggest dreams, that's not casual conversation. That's her lowering her guard. And a woman does not lower her guard for just anyone. If she's letting you see the parts of her that aren't polished, aren't perfect, aren't strong all the time, then you are standing in a very special place in her heart. See, strength is easy to show. Confidence is easy to perform. Smiles are easy to give. But fears, past pain, childhood wounds, those things are protected. Those are locked behind emotional doors that don't open without trust. When she tells you what hurt her in her last relationship, when she admits what she's afraid of losing, when she confesses the things she overthinks at night, she's not just talking, she's revealing. And revealing is risky because vulnerability means giving someone the power to hurt you. It means saying, here's the real me. Handle it carefully. When she chooses you as the person to share that with, it's because she feels safe. Safety is everything to a woman, emotionally. If she feels judged, dismissed, or misunderstood, she shuts down. But if she keeps opening up, layer after layer, that means you've created a space where she feels protected. Now let's talk about dreams. When she shares her ambitions, her future plans, a life she imagines building, that's intimate. Dreams are personal. They reflect how she sees herself and where she wants to go. If she includes you in those conversations, even indirectly, that means she's picturing you somewhere in that future. Maybe not clearly yet, maybe not fully defined, but present. A woman doesn't discuss her long-term vision with a man she sees as temporary along. She says, "One day I want," and she looks at you while saying it. Pay attention. When she talks about the kind of relationship she hopes to have, the kind of family she wants, the lifestyle she desires, and she's comfortable saying those things around you, it's because she's testing emotional alignment. She's wondering if you fit. But vulnerability also shows up in small moments. The way her voice softens when she talks about something painful, the way she hesitates before admitting something personal, the way she asks, "Can I tell you something?" before sharing a deeper truth. Those pauses mean something, they may, and she cares about how you'll respond. Because once a woman trusts you with her inner world, your reaction matters deeply. If you listen, reassure, and respect her honesty, her trust grows stronger. But if you mock, minimize, or ignore it, she'll close that door quietly and permanently. When she's vulnerable with you, she's not just passing time, she's investing emotionally. She's building connection. She's saying, without saying, "I believe you won't misuse this part of me." And that's powerful because attraction can bring someone close. Chemistry can create excitement, but vulnerability, that builds attachment, that builds depth, that builds something real. So if she's opening up about her fears and her dreams, understand the weight of that gift. You're not just another guy in her phone. You're someone she trusts with her heart's fragile corners. And trust like that doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you've already become important to her in ways you may not even fully realize yet. At the end of the day, it's not about guessing her feelings. It's about recognizing her feelings. It's about recognizing the patterns. If she's checking on you, remembering the small details, teasing you, reacting to you, showing a hint of jealousy, replying consistently, making time and opening up about her fears and dreams, those aren't random actions. That's emotional investment. That's priority. That's trust. Whoa. It may not always say exactly how they feel, but their behavior speaks loudly. Attention means interest. Emotion means involvement. Consistency means you matter. Vulnerability means you're trusted. When all of those pieces come together, you're not just someone she talks to. You're someone she thinks about, someone she feels connected to, someone she's quietly considering in her heart. So don't overlook the subtle signs. Don't play games with genuine effort. If she's showing you these things, understand their value. Because when a woman invests like that, she's already telling you, you mean more than you realize.